What's going on, girls and guys? Once again, it is your host, Arachnid Soul, coming to you tonight with TNA Bound for Glory 2015 results. But before we get into that, I have a major channel announcement to make. Everybody for the past 9 months has been saying to me, where is the wrestling content on your channel? We missed Throwdown, we missed the live streams, we missed the pay-per-views. I'm here to announce right now, before we talk about Bound for Glory, starting October 14th, it is a Wednesday night, I will be bringing TNA Impact, my version of TNA Impact, weekly to this channel. Hit subscribe now, do not miss it. Video game style, just like Throwdown, but in the TNA universe. It is going to be awesome. Let's talk about Bound for Glory. They kicked things off hot, just the way I thought they would. X Division action. It was the Ultimate X match. DJ Z, aka Zima Ion, going against Andrew Everett, who I've been watching this kid in the indie scene. I've been watching him in Ring of Honor. I actually told someone yesterday, in my opinion, he has the best shooting star press, aka the Kid Mikaze, aka the shooting styles press in the sport. And I stood by that tonight when I saw him pull it off. Those two were an Ultimate X, but also the champion, Extreme Tiger, Tigre Uno. This guy was so underrated for so many years in Mexico, trained by Rey Mysterio Sr., finally got that push in Mexico, now he's in the United States, X Division champion. This match did not disappoint. They were in North Carolina. The crowd was hot. They wanted that fast, catch-as-catch-can, lucha libre, that junior heavyweight style, that X Division style. And we saw things here tonight. I mean, at one point, Tigre Uno did a 450 splash from the turnbuckles to the outside. That is sick. I've never seen that before. And when we talk about Andrew Everett, I mean, maybe the best agility in the sport. Him and ACH, it's kind of a tie, I don't know. This kid, Andrew Everett, hit a springboard somersault 630-degree senton. I've never seen Jack Evans do that. I never saw Mr. 630 do that back in the old days of TNA. He hit this thing so clean. Go back, watch this. You will not believe it. He also hit that springboard shooting star press to the outside perfectly. I want to talk a little bit more about the other matches, so let me just say this. This match was awesome. It did not disappoint. It was a great Ultimate X match. It was a great X Division match. It was a great way to open up tonight's proceedings. The man walked in the champion. The man walked out the champion. Tigre Uno is still your TNA World X Division champion. Then we moved on to the Bound for Gold match. Now, the stipulation of this match was that whoever won this over-the-top battle royal was going to get a shot at any championship in TNA they want. Now, you guys know how TNA does the gauntlet matches. It's a battle royal initially. People come in about every 90 seconds, every 2 minutes, and the last two guys compete in a pinfall or submission match. This one was a little bit different because the last two men did compete in a one-on-one match, but also they could win that via elimination. Now, it's a battle royal, so there was a lot of punching, a lot of kicking, a lot of people trying to throw other people over the top rope, but let's get into who was in this match. Now, first of all, you have EC3's bodyguard, his right-hand man, Tyrus. Big dude, big dinosaur, big rhino elephant-looking guy. He was in the match. The Monster Abyss was in the match. Now, I've been waiting for Abyss to really get back into what he can do best. Get on the mic, the barbed wire, the hardcore matches. I mean, for a heavyweight, this guy can move. The cardio's on point. I can't wait for Abyss to finally kind of break through the way he did before. I think we're seeing him split away from the Revolution a little bit, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Abyss. Now we move on to a guy named Aiden O'Shea. Now, Aiden O'Shea is a guy, he's traveled the world. If you guys have watched a lot of American Indie, if you guys have watched Japan, you've seen him. He's got that nasty Stan Hansen type lariat. We didn't see it tonight, but Aiden O'Shea repackaged himself, showed up. He looked like an old 1930s boxer. You know, hey, he had those those suspenders. I don't know. But there were some surprises in the match. Now, it wasn't a surprise that Chris Melendez was in the match. It wasn't a surprise that Eli Drake was in the match, because we knew that Eli Drake was booked to be in the match, and Eli Drake showed up and competed in the match. Not a surprise that Eli Drake was at Bound for Glory and that Eli Drake was in North Carolina. Jesse Goddard, the man from Big Brother, was in the match. Mahabali Shira was in the match doing his dance, and then that asshole, Mr. Anderson. And also Robbie E., another guy I've really wanted to see break out. I mean, this guy is only one championship away from being a TNA Grand Slam champion, and that's the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. But there were some surprises in this Battle Royal. See, everyone in North Carolina tonight got head. Oh, no. Al Snow showed up. That's what I'm trying to say. Al Snow comes out, the roof pops. It was amazing. Now, there's another guy. He was a pretty big role in a little company in Philly a couple of years ago called Extreme Championship Wrestling. Pops in from time to time. My boy, the innovator of violence, Tommy Dreamer, came out in the Dusty Rhodes style polka dots. No, he didn't have the whole outfit on. He had his normal outfit, but he had some polka dots on the pants, bionic elbows, flip-flop, and fly. Old Stardust came straight out of Yonkers tonight to North Carolina. Dreamer was there. The big surprise to me, and I popped hard when I saw this man get up at the announce table, the Pope, D'Angelo De Niro, got in the Battle Royal. This man single-handedly threw out easily 60, 70, 80, 90 No, that's not what he did. Oh, he hopped in, and then he punked out and hopped in. Oh, okay. Well, the Pope was in the Battle Royal for a second. Anyway, at the end of the Battle Royal, two men were left standing. It was Mr. Anderson, and Tyrus. And at the end of the night, Tyrus actually came out on top. He hit Anderson with that spike, I don't know what he calls it. 1, 2, 3, covers man, clean, beats him, wins the Battle Royal, and then out comes EC3. Out comes a man who's supposed to be best friends with Tyrus, and EC3's happy because he knows Tyrus now gets a shot at any championship he wants in TNA. And EC3 gets on the mic, and EC3 says, "Hey Tyrus, I know that you're going to ask Dixie Carter for that shot at the TNA World Tag Team Championships. It's going to be me and you, bro. We're going to go all the way." Tyrus looks at him, and Tyrus says, "No, I'm not going after any of those belts. I'm going after the TNA World Heavyweight Championship belt that's over your shoulder right now, EC3. And we're going to talk a little bit more about EC3 in tonight's main event. Tyrus wins the Bound for Gold, easy for me to say, Gauntlet Battle Royale. Then we move on to an inter-promotional match. It was Brian Myers and Trevor Lee of GFW, Jeff Jarrett and Karen Jarrett's Global Force Wrestling. They went 2-on-2 with the Wolves, with the American Wolves, call them what you will, the TNA World Tag Team Champions, Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards. These two have had an amazing series. We remember just a couple of months ago when GFW came into TNA, when they invaded, and it was Myers and Lee. We remember when they cashed in that briefcase, that Feast or Fired case that Magnus had, and Brian Myers and Trevor Lee, I don't believe they're married, I think they're only tag team partners, won the tag belts. It was a couple of weeks later that the Wolves regained the tag belts. But Brian Myers and Trevor Lee had a rematch clause. They had great matches on Impact. I was looking forward to this match. It was on pay-per-view. They were going to get some more time. They did not disappoint. And let's talk a little bit about Brian Myers. Here's a guy who was up in New York. Things didn't quite work out. He's repackaged himself. He's been on the indie scenes. He's been working at Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore. He's been flying all over the country. And this is a guy who is hungry and he wants it and he's good. Now, you look at his physique and you say he's a heavyweight. He's not going to be that good at moving. His agility, his cardio's not going to be there. My boy's on point, and he's a very good tag team partner for Trevor Lee. This guy has a nasty deadlift German suplex into a bridge, and then he's got a fall-away slam that almost reminds me back in the day of Scott Steiner, pre-Big Papa Pump days. Let's talk about this match. Let's talk about how how high paced this was. This match was very fast, was very intense. At one point, we saw Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards hit that double tope suicida, the double suicide dive to the outside. There was a lot of action around the ringside. Outside the ring, there was a lot of action inside the ring. And at the end of the night, it was chasing the dragon. It was like Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. The Wolves actually used that move, the Brainbuster, with the Muay Thai style roundhouse kick to the back of the neck. Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards, the Wolves, retained the TNA World Tag Team Championship. I was on Twitter singing the praises of this man, the King of the Mountain champion, Bobby Roode. See, the next match that took place was the challenger, Bobby Lashley, taking on the champion, Bobby Roode, King of the Mountain KOTM Championship. And I made the comment that Bobby Roode, I said this on Twitter at Arachnid Soul, you can all follow me. Bobby Roode is a professional wrestler who you could drop down into any league in any organization at any point in time, past, present, future, and he'd be over. He'd be a top star. He's that good. I mean, this is a guy who, if somebody said to me, and I said this also on Twitter at Arachnid Soul, if somebody said to me that they don't watch pro wrestling, they've never heard of pro wrestling, they're Martian, they don't know what it is, could I give them an example of a pro wrestler? Bobby Roode would probably be that guy. He's a thoroughbred. He's so clean with everything. He puts on clinics every time out there. And when we talk about Bobby Lashley, a standout wrestler in college, a standout MMA fighter, a multiple time world champion, up north and down south with TNA Impact Wrestling. These two had some great matches about a year ago on Wednesday Night Impact. I think it was Friday Night Impact back then. Who knows? On Impact, whatever date it was on back then. And I was looking forward to it. And this match, again, I know I've said it a million times tonight. The whole pay-per-view didn't disappoint, so you're going to hear me say it again. This match did not disappoint. These guys were kicking out of finishers, but the thing that really impressed me was the hold and counter hold. The psychology of these guys, but the fact that they were reversing so many things. That's one of the signs of a great pro wrestler. When two guys have been in the ring with each other a number of times, I expect them to get a little bit smarter. I expect them to have each other's moves scouted a little bit more. And we saw Roode countering Bobby Lashley's spear. We saw these guys hitting each other with their own moves. It was ridiculous. Bobby Lashley has gone to using an inverted Kimura. He hasn't quite perfected it yet, but he's going to get there. He almost beat Bobby Roode with it. Bobby Lashley did, excuse me. And we were seeing that Bobby Roode was actually countering that into a Nagata lock or a crippler crossface, depending on if you're more of a Yuji Nagata fan or a Chris Benoit fan. And it was just amazing. It was a clinic. It was back and forth. It was two heavyweights with great conditioning, with great psychology. Two guys went in there. They were both looking to win that King of the Mountain championship. Well, one of them was looking to keep it. And I can tell you right now, that man did keep it. Bobby Roode at the end of the night, able to counter everything that Lashley was throwing at him, hit him with that heavy rain, hit him with that Roode bomb, covered his man, 1, 2, 3. And after it was all said and done, Bobby Lashley, being the class act that he is, got up, looked Bobby Roode square in the eye, and shook his hand. You tell Lashley was frustrated. Lashley will have another shot at that championship. And Lashley will have another shot at Bobby Roode. This match was so pure. I loved it. That was worth the price of admission. Now, things in women's wrestling have not always been great. You go back to 2002, 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7. It was horrible. And everyone out there knows the group of women I'm talking about. But then TNA decided we're going to go out and not get models, not get actresses, not get singers. We're going to go out and get female wrestlers. Some of the best we can find. We're going to start a women's division. We're going to start a knockouts division. And I remember Bound for Glory in 2007 when Gail Kim won the first ever Gauntlet Battle Royal that TNA ever had with pure women for the TNA Knockouts Championship. And I remember also making the comment that same week that it's funny that this division has just started, but already it's the best women's division on television. Skip ahead a couple of months, and Gail Kim and Awesome Kong not only put that division on the map, they brought women's pro wrestling, mainstream women's pro wrestling, televised women's pro wrestling, back to that level of quality that it hadn't been on national television in the United States for some time. It's a feud. It's a rivalry. It's one of those classic matchups where you can't talk about Raven without talking about Tommy Dreamer. You can't talk about Ric Flair without talking about Sting. You can't talk about Super Crazy without talking about Yoshihiro Tajiri, Rob Van Dam without talking about Jerry Lynn. You cannot talk about Gail Kim without talking about Awesome Kong and vice versa. And tonight, for the first time ever at a Bound for Glory event, these two women, these two knockouts, these two wrestlers, for all the marbles, for the hottest and the top female prize in this sport we call professional wrestling, competed in front of a hot crowd in North Carolina, and they tore the roof off. It was everything that we expected from these two. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything, because I know people out there are going to want to see this, and they're going to go watch it, and they want to go in fresh. So all I'm going to say is the ending. Gail Kim counters a choke slam that Awesome Kong was looking to hit off the top rope, counters it for the first time ever with the Avalanche Eat Defeat. Awesome Kong bounced back into the corner, still standing. Gail Kim from her knees reached up. Inside cradle, small package, 1, 2, 3. Kong kicks out just after the 3 count. Let me tell you right now, Gail Kim took some nasty stuff. I'm not going to spoil it. Gail Kim took a move in this match outside the ring on chairs that I've never seen any woman or any man ever take. It was nasty. I don't know how she got up from that. I don't know how she got up from some of those body shots. I don't know how she got up from the amazing press. In any case, Gail Kim, a future TNA Hall of Famer, arguably the best female professional wrestler in the world, Gail retains the top prize in female professional wrestling. Gail Kim is still the world champion of the women, because that's what I call it. She's still the Knockouts champion. We move on to a match that was really personal. Some of the things that have happened between Eric Young and Chris Melendez, or Eric Young and Kurt Angle, or Eric Young and the TNA roster in general over the past couple of months, it's gotten really personal. And tonight, Kurt Angle comes back, and comes back after some very serious surgery. He had a tumor removed from his neck. He's been gone for a while now. I mean, we could sit here and talk for 9 hours just about the history of Kurt Angle's neck and the surgeries he's had on it. In any case, I was somewhat worried, and I don't know why I'm worried. I'm always worried every time Kurt has some kind of injury and he comes back. I'm like, is he gonna get hurt? Is he gonna be fine? The guy's a cyborg. He's always fine. And when he's not fine, you really can't tell. Kurt Angle tonight, one-on-one with Eric Young. Kurt Angle gets into the ring initially and says, Eric, I'm not here to wrestle you tonight. This is not going to be a wrestling match. Kurt told Eric Young, I've been in the back. I've been talking to TNA President Dixie Carter. We've decided to make this a no disqualification match. So these two brawled all around the arena. It was like Jerry Lawler and Terry Funk. It was like Chris Benoit and the Taskmaster Kevin Sullivan. It was like Rey Mysterio and Psychosis. These two brawling all over the building. And then Eric Young hits Kurt Angle Kurt Angle, a man who's had probably 4 broken necks. Kurt Angle, a man who just came back from neck surgery, having a tumor removed from his neck. Eric Young hits Kurt Angle in the center of the ring, not with a sit-out pile driver, I'm not going to call it that, with a jumping pile driver. This thing was nasty. Go find the footage of this. Go watch the match. He spiked the hell out of Kurt Angle, and then Kurt Angle rolls to the outside, and I thought that's it. I thought the match was over at that point. Kurt Angle was clutching at his neck. We had some of the trainers and some of the TNA officials come down to ringside. A doctor came down, medical staff. They're checking on Kurt Angle's neck. The match is completely stopped at this point. Eric Young's still in the ring. And the doctor's advice was that Kurt Angle should not continue to wrestle. Well, Eric Young wanted to continue to wrestle, so Eric Young goes over and he starts hitting some of the people in TNA management. Next thing, he turns his focus to Kurt Angle, and you can hear Kurt Angle, despite the fact that Kurt Angle didn't have a mic, telling Eric Young, Eric, it's over. I don't want to do this. Kurt Angle's demeanor completely changed after that pile driver, but Eric Young wanted the match. So the match continued. At one point, Eric Young trying to pile drive Kurt Angle outside on the concrete. Kurt Angle managed to reverse and hit Eric Young outside the ring with an overhead release German suplex. Perfectly executed. I don't need to tell you that because I just told you Kurt Angle was doing it, so you can just assume that. The action got back into the ring. Kurt Angle hitting EY with the rolling Germans, but it wasn't long before Eric Young took back over and focused once again on the neck. Eric Young coming off the top rope, maybe the best elbow drop in the sport, to the back of the neck of Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle still alive. Kurt Angle still fighting. Kurt Angle still kicking out. And then moments later, Kurt Angle managed to lock Eric Young in the ankle lock. Keep in mind this is a no disqualification match. Eric Young inches, pulls, crawls himself over to the bottom cable, the bottom rope, grabs the rope. The referee's right there. The referee sees it. Kurt's not breaking the ankle lock. And Eric Young is yelling at the referee, hey, I've got the rope. And the refs tell him it's no disqualification. I can't disqualify Kurt Angle for not breaking the hold despite the fact that you have a rope break. Kurt Angle drags Eric Young back to the middle of the ring with the ankle lock, still has that grapevine on, and Eric Young, he held on a long time. I haven't seen anyone hold on in that ankle lock since way back in the day when Kurt Angle first came in and fought Abyss. But at the end of the night, Eric Young does tap out, and an injured Kurt Angle walks out of the ring. Kurt Angle gets the Duke. We move on to the main event of TNA Bound for Glory 2015. For all of the marbles, the richest prize in the sport, the reason that any heavyweight wants to be in TNA wrestling, the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. The challengers, Drew Galloway and Matt Hardy. The champion, Ethan Carter III, EC3. EC3 has never been pinned. He's never submitted. Tonight was actually his 2-year anniversary of being in TNA. He's never been defeated. It was a 3-way dance, and the referee, interestingly enough, and I'm not going to get into the whole whatever about how it came to happen, but the referee was Matt Hardy's brother, Jeff Hardy. They're in North Carolina. It's Hardy country. This is 100 miles away from Cameron, where the Hardy boys grew up. Ethan Carter III. Despite the fact that he's the world champion, I still feel that the fans don't give him the respect that he deserves. They were chanting, "You can't wrestle," for a while. Then the chants became, "You can't wrestle," but that was only half the crowd, and the other half would chant, "Yes, he can." And I've really seen this guy grow up over the course of 2 years, and I'm going to give it to him. He's had a lot of really great world title defenses on Impact over the past couple of months. What would happen tonight? What would happen in this match for the World Championship? Let me tell you, Ethan Carter was on his A game. Beautiful drop kicks, moves I've never seen him pull off before. Cleanly executed. Everything looked crisp. But we got to talk about Drew Galloway. We got to talk about a man from Scotland who was chopping the hell out of Matt Hardy tonight. I mean, we're talking Kenta Kobashi style machine gun chops in the corner for Matt Hardy. He was given some to EC3. And at one point, Ethan Carter set up a table outside the ring, puts Drew Galloway on the table, and then grabs Matt Hardy. Now, EC3 is standing outside on the ring apron at this point. Matt Hardy's inside the ring. Grabs Matt Hardy, hooks him in a front facelock, takes him straight up, and suplexes him back through the table that Drew Galloway was on. Brilliant. But let's talk about the air raid crash, the air raid siren, call it what you will. The Kryptonite Crunch, you guys remember Nova and ECW. Drew Galloway drilling EC3 with that move on the ring steps. The holy shit chants rang out. I'm surprised that EC3 got up the whole time. I'm like, oh my god, Drew's about to kill this guy. It's about to be one-on-one between Drew Galloway and Matt Hardy. Somehow the champ got up after that, eventually. Back and forth between all three. It was one fall to a finish. There were near counts from everyone. At one point, Drew Galloway almost won the match when he hit Matt Hardy with the double underhook DDT, the Future Shock, but EC3 was there to make a save. At one point, EC3 connected with the 1%er, the reverse, the inverted DDT. Almost looks like Jeff Jarrett's stroke, but it's a DDT. He nailed both opponents with it, covered them both. They both kicked out. Matt Hardy, the high-flying stuff came back. Moonsaulted off the top rope, connected with both of his opponents. That was not enough. The end game here tonight, and I couldn't believe it. EC3 grabbing a chair. EC3 having that chair taken away by Jeff Hardy, the referee, and EC3 telling Jeff Hardy, hit your brother. Take him out with the chair. Jeff Hardy saying no. Jeff Hardy drilling EC3 first in the gut and then across the back with a steel folding chair. This wasn't, a regular steel folding chair is bad enough. This wasn't that one. This was the heavier one. If you guys know what I'm talking about at stadiums when they have the VIPs and things sitting front row, that's what this chair was. All of a sudden, we notice that there are some shenanigans. EC3 is outside of the ring. Then we see Matt Hardy. The man from North Carolina, hit Drew Galloway with the twist of fate and cover him. 1, 2, 3. Matt Hardy becomes the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, and the fans damn near blew the roof off the arena. I was reading some people's remarks on Twitter. Some people said this was the best TNA Bound for Glory in history. I've seen them all. There have been some great ones. Yes, this possibly was the greatest TNA Bound for Glory in history. I made the comment on Twitter, at Arachnid Soul, that is how you do a 3-hour Sunday night pay-per-view. And that has been my review of TNA Bound for Glory 2015. Hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, leave a like, and I will be doing TNA Impact video game style weekly starting October 14th. Do not forget it, and I will catch you girls, guys, and everyone else out there later.